Hello. How is everybody? Are we alive? Am I? Today, today we're gonna have fun. Hello, Majahadra. Hello. I am doing well. How are you? Dealing with a flickering light situation, but I think we'll be okay. I just realized why we're dealing with this should be less flickery. Alright. So, today the plan is to, to do some interesting things using case. Um, Long story short, we're gonna define why we use, or we're gonna define some of our locative cases and instances in which they would be used. So, we have two locative cases, ablative and an allative. So, let me zoom in. We have an ablative and an allative. So, we are going to be looking at that. Why we would use ablative and why we would use it. And if it's possible, we could start developing actual prepositions for the language. That would be interesting. So, if everybody is ready, hop into a video. Grab a thing. YouTube. Today, we're going to be looking at prepositions, prepositional phrases, and how that's going to be associated with the different cases, with the different locative cases in Osugitri. So, if you're ready, hop right into it. So, we have two prepositional cases, Osugitri. They are an ablative and an allative. Long story. Not that. Long story short, I have big plans for these guys. I just need to know when we're going to use them. So, let's pull up an image. So, I'm looking for an image. I know that it's something like this. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. So what we can do, we can open that. Put it. Well, whatever. Gosh. Oh. There we go. Okay. So we can use some of this to define which cases we would use. Now, we need to keep in mind that there should be some sort of obvious dichotomy, right? Because it is only two cases. So, to me, it makes sense that allative always is sort of visible. You know? Like if you're looking at this box and this ball, it will, the allative will always be clearly visible. And the ablative would be somewhat obscured or away from, or. Do we all agree that that's how that should work? And mind you, these are just the cases that would show up on the word. So, like, it doesn't have to be the allative case lifting all of this. You know? It could be that the allative case is used in conjunction with a preposition. Because this is a prepositional language. Also, a prepositional language. So, I had a feeling that allative would in and on would both be allative. Um, above could also be allative. I may have lied. I may have lied. 1 second. Let me check my cases. Because I'm pretty sure that genitive 2. Both of the genitives have some sort of prepositional derivation. So, because the second genitive has become such a grammatical, like it's such a function affix, I don't think it would make sense for it to become, for the second genitive to be used for prepositional meanings. But you can also use the first genitive for prepositional meanings. So we might be looking at something like so Mahajahadra. Ablative and allative. They're no, they're not comparative or comparable. Mainly because they are just two totally different motions, right? So, like if you're coming out of something, you're going to use the ablative. If you're like, that's why we use from. So ablative means out of or away from. Allative means towards, in its most pure definition. Ablative is away from. Allative is towards. So if I were to say ablative from me, it would be that way. If I were to say allative to me, this way, coming to me versus away from. And generally, genitives are also used as some sort of like, I don't know, sort of like a comitative sort of deal, if you understand. Comitative just means with, kind of like the archaic adhesive. That's under, correct? Like to go underneath something. Also, I don't think the genitive would be used all that often as prepositional. So maybe like near or next to is genitive, but like near is ablative. Then ablative would be behind. We can use genitive here, since it's with two objects. Adhesive is next to. My bad. And then below would be apple. So, are we all okay with these definitions? Or these? Like using ablative for behind, allative for in front of, genitive, ablative for behind, near, below, genitive for in between and next to, and allative for everything else. That's because, mind you, these are just place prepositions. Like, just like association with something. No? If I hear no objections, it can be. So, that's actually another chunk of what I want to do today, Mahajahadra. They can be used in conjunction with something else. Like I'm pretty sure like next to would be in conjunction with something else. Um, because it's not just a clear like away from. Um, and this might be in conjunction like with the noun and the prepositional phrase. Like just an entirely different noun gains a case. So like this could be like you have to use two nouns in a prepositional phrase meaning near, and one of them is in the genitive and the other is in the ablative. Like the referred image is in the ablative and then, or in the genitive. No, that wouldn't make sense. But yes, I would like to touch on like actual prepositions if we get to that point. Um, do we have any objections to this so far? If not, I will go into prepositions of motion. No objections? Hmm. Okay. Hmm. That's some of these are interesting. Some of these are pretty interesting. Like there are some very like clear things. Like this one would obviously ablative. That one would obviously be ablative, right? And this one would obviously be ablative. Like those are the canonical definitions of ablative and allative. And in fact, allative sometimes is used for into and through, just like commonly. Um, there's a Caucasian language called Kabardian, which which is interesting because it doesn't use the ablative for through. It just doesn't. It uses it like by means, like for an instrumental by means of this path, but it does not use it for through something. And it's for doing that. But like, oh, and then I'm going to try and make forms for all of them, or will I choose to have some that don't have locative form expressed in other ways? Um, Let me try and think. So, what my thought is like that the thought is that some prepositions are unnecessary to be used. So like go, rock, ablative. He went away from the rock. Left rock. Um Sit rock ablative. Sat under. It's like there's context there, especially this verb, especially the verb. If it's a verb of motion, it would be understood as to go away from. Now, if it's ablative and you want to communicate the meaning of went under, then it could be like go down. Go down rock. Down from the rock. If that makes sense. It's when there are more complex meanings. Like motion underneath. Motion underneath, motion over top of. So like go up rock. Went over. Or go up rock out. But the fact of the matter is that ultimately up and allative are mutually exclusive, if that makes sense. Like if you're not going to get an up ablative. You will get an up allative, but you will get a down ablative. Not get a up ablative or a down allative. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's a lot of my struggles. My struggles. That's why I can't just slam these out, right? Because there's some complex motion going on in here. Like onto. Like, would I just use the allative like I would for into and then Hmm. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, and then the other way, get up rock allative could be onto. And there could be like I was actually just talking with Eol, I think their name was. The person the one who I just call Glyph. Um and I was talking about how orthogéométrie systems work. And I was looking at this word zoo. Zoo. So zoo just means to keep. And using different prepositions or different cases could mean inward. So like to keep towards could mean inward. So like we could use allative and then you know. So the whole idea is that these are not going to show up on their own. A lot of these are not going to show up on their own. They're going to have help. But it's can we conflate onto and across? Or can we conflate through and across? Yeah, like, so you can either use locative cases like Finnish does, where they just have a locative case for everything, or you could use locative cases in conjunction, which happens otherwise. So, like, think about. So, Latin does not have one locative case. Latin has two. It has an ablative and it has an accusative. The accusative is understood as an allative. And it only is understood as an allative when there are verbs of motion. So, like, to go to the water means to go into the water. Like, in aguam is in aguam. Aguam is in accusative. So, in, to go into, it's understood as pass across, pass under, use two locatively marked words. So, like, reduplication plus. So, like, if at least this is where my mind went. Go, rock, al, rock, ab. Which means or go up rock, down up rock. Oh my gosh, Majahadra, I've been trying to avoid case stacking. I've tried to avoid case stacking because I don't. So hear me out. Stack the word allative. Stack the allative affix onto the preposition meaning upwards. And then use the ablative form. Hmm. Okay. Again, I haven't thought of a word for and. But what we can do is we can use our best friend. This language's best friend. Hold up. This language's best friend. Ut. And pop a genitive marker on that. and up. So that would end up being like da. Do I have a word for climb? You know what? Ingar. We'll just use Ingar. Then a ladder. Da Ingar. Ingar. No, there's no Ingar. In. Just say Ingo. 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 Othom. Actually, is it it? It's it home. Um. Ingo du. Un. Or play. What was the word for Echit? AFK, as in you're leaving? You're leaving for a second? That makes sense to me. Where the prepositions just. Here's the thing. I can see this would take so long to happen, but I could imagine that these, like, merge. So like. Ingom. Ingomikle. That could be over. So, for some reason, that is only up to history. For some reason, that is only known to history. The object or the dependent of this prepositional phrase. It is a very big merge. So we would need. I think over and across would be a very common phrase, though. I feel like that would be a very common phrase. Like over and across. So, like. And mind you, this is not. This is still pretty, agglutinative. We can take apart the pieces of that. It's not like I just... Not like I just did that. Do we like that? Or do we want to somehow... Or do we want to make it simpler? I like that. Then again, I am always just for fusional stuff. Or just taking one syllable and just smashing information into it. Cool. So, Ingo mi clay. Over. And then because of how because of how it functions, because of how this language functions, it has 12 other meanings. Hold up, let me... I need to make a note about this, so that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, me clay. Up and go over. Yeah, I mean, up and go over. Uh, yeah, we have roundabouts. Just go a roundabout. And up and go over. Boom. Dependent nouns do not take case marking. Because this is the case mark. Like, this is the case marker. Ooh, not that. So. Bam. Eh. Ingomi clay. Oh my gosh, I didn't even. Or no, this is up as well. And then we can use Ingomi clay for this one too. Ingomi clay. Well, now that we've had that. Ooh, there we go. Now that we've had that revelation on how prepositions will work, I think I'm gonna cut it for you too. So, I hope y'all liked my ramblings. Um, I hope that none of y'all, trust me, be your construction worker after this whole thing. Alright, so YouTube, do all of the YouTube things. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, be a good citizen. Have a good one. Ay, ay, ay. Are we having fun? Because I'm having fun. Our nearest bridge about. Uh, I'll 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 put that in the pre video highlights. Oh my gosh. I wonder if people like watching the streams are like they actually believe that I'm ending the stream when I say YouTube do all the things. Because I've noticed the numbers go down. Majahadra. No, it's fine. You don't have to have very complex prepositions. Because, mind you, that's part of like the whole. The way what we're working on here is like part of the whole deal of Ofsugitri. It's the fact that with the right marking, anything can be. Right? That's. A word can be whatever it wants to be. You know? Follow its dreams. Does it want to be a verb? Then sure, just put some verb marking on it. You know what? While you're at it, throw some prepositional marking on it. You know? So, it's. Hello, Ever. You missed the fact that we named bridges up and go overs. Kind of like roundabouts in English. Uh. Alright. You ready to hop into another video? Because I am. YouTube, we have returned with more prepositional goodness. So, last week, figured some stuff out regarding cases and how different prepositions would affect the case marking to mean different prepositional things. Up, going up something and going down something, climbing up it, going underneath it, going into it. We didn't get underneath, but we're going to. Then, after that, we might work on prepositions. Put me on that, though. Gonna have fun. Okay. I have near, not near, towards, not towards. The affix to noun, make verbs, adverbs. Hmm. That's interesting, Maja. You could use those as like prepositions, or not prepositions, demonstratives. Just slap them on nouns, and you have different like deictic sort of deals. Um. So yeah, last week we came up with ingomikle. Or last time we came up with ingomikle. Now I was wondering, can we just slam, like, just flip that? So, like, instead of ingomikle, it would be in play incleum for underneath. Go down and then up. Or do we want to conflate this with inward? Because we could. Oh my gosh, ing is now just a word on its own. Ing. But I don't know what it could mean. That's interesting. Yes, are we against just flipping ingomikle? Ah, you make a point, Majahadra. Um, hold up. So up ablative and up allative. Up allative and then up ablative. Okay. So we could do a mix of under and down. Or inward and down for under to pass under. Couldn't we? Down and in. So it could be down or bottom. So let's come up with a word for. Do I have a word for to fall? No, I do not. All. Give me a form. Uh, let's do phony or fonyo. Yeah, fonyo. 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 Okay. Fitte. I no. No, Majahadra. We're not doing fitte. Okay. So Did I have through is allative. So go down allative rock, go under rock. So that's da o yodun. So let's, you know what? You want to know something that doesn't really happen in a lot of the words I have? I don't really have guh. I don't have guh a lot. So let's merge that. Forjun. Forjun. Echut. Da forjun. Forjun echut. I like that. And again, with this, the dependent noun would have no case marking. Forjun. Okay. So, I have a question. Do we want to distinguish through and past? Because ultimately they encode the same meaning, just whether or not you went inside of it. Let me add this. Not that. Okay. Whoops. Through is into and past. Well, we already used the allative case, just a flat-out allative for that. Or inward through. Inward and allative. See, for through, it's inward and allative. Do we want to do inward and ablative? Because if ablative is already carrying the meaning of outside of, right? Does that make sense to y'all? Uh, Man, I'm gonna have to write all about this. I'm gonna have to write this down somewhere. And I don't like needing to describe this. Past and out, because you can't have come out with it. Hmm. Okay. So we're doing another big honker preposition. Big honker preposition. So how are we going to do past? Would that be ablative or would that be allative? Where is it? There it is. Solid color. Yeah, how would we do past? Because that. Because past. Because the word past encodes the fact that. Past encodes the fact that it didn't go through it. We're thinking ablative? We're thinking ablative for that? Just flat out ablative? It isn't currently. It currently is not its own thing. But I'm pretty sure. Okay. So, in plus pass. So we'll create a verb for to pass. Oh, don't give me ideas that'll destroy Ingomikle. Ingomikle. Don't give me ideas that will destroy Ingomikle and Fodun. I like them. I think we could do Dvanva sort of deals. Like Ingomikle is up and down, upwards and downwards, and a Dvanva is just when you take. A Dvanva is when you just take two antonyms and squash them together to mean a general thing. So, like if you take the word mother and father, squash them together, that means parent. Or hot and cold, squash them together, that just means temperature. So Ingomikle is a Dvanva. What is Fodun? That's fall into. That's not a Dvanva in the purest form, but it kinda is. Um so do we want I like through being inward and allative. Or it could be inward allative, inward ablative. So another Dvanva. So like in al in ab could be and then out al allative out ablative would be past. Specifically in the z-axis. Ingomikle fortune. Ingomikle fortune. See, here's the thing. I don't think around in the sense of that motion would be used very much. I think around would be more of that genitive. Shake it all about. So do we have a word for in? Do we have... We do. We do. Zu, Kli. Zudun. Zudun. So, so dunkli. Dunkli. And then we can do give for outside. Because I know I have a word for give. Yes, postkig. 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 Postkig dun postkig. So padun padun pakli. Padun pakli. Padun pakli. It's past. Padun pakli. Padun pakli. That's interesting. I like that a lot. Very fun. Okay. And then we just need one more. Do we just want to use the genitive here? Because the genitive just means with. Like, that makes sense to me. Okay. Now, Yeah, the genitive makes sense for around. Okay. I think this is interesting. I think it's interesting. Do you think that the word for over and across would conflate with the word for up? No, I'm not even gonna entertain that. Is everybody good to move on to prepositions of time? Is everybody cool with that? Wow. Let's just steal German. Time is funky. Ha! This is literally the same deal that we're doing. That is literally just the same thing we're doing. Ah. I can't find a. Hmm. Yeah, time is funky. So funky, in fact, that I cannot find just a straight up. Time is funky because I can't just find a straight up this sort of deal. Straight up image of it. So, here's what we do. Ah, no. Damn. Okay. So, what are some basic time prepositions? For, after, since, until, during, or while. Um, during or while. Am I missing any? Oh! There are different forms of during. So, hmm. Are there any that I'm missing? When you break it down, these are the basics, right? Wednesday. Wednesday. No, we don't need a word for Wednesday. Also, fun fact about Wednesday. Wednesday, the word Wednesday actually came from Wodan's dog. Wodan's dog. Which was the day that was the day of the week that was used to worship Wodan, Odin. So yeah. So I'm not missing any big ones. I don't. Excuse me. There are some very odd overlaps in English. Um, that I could that There are some very odd overlaps. Wetness exclusively. Um, because like until and during, those are both in 5 minutes. Oh, up till. Yeah, because until and up till are two different things. Until blah 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 blah. Until has a sort of like irrealis feeling to it, doesn't it? Like until this happens, I'll blah blah blah. And up till kind of has a I don't know. Okay, so before and after. Actually, no. Let's do until. I I would say we would use the word zudunkli or zudunk for until, right? Because it means through. Um, and the big thing is we have to. So the weird thing about time is that it is usually conflated with space. You take a word that you use to describe spatial relations, and then it can either be it can either become semantically shifted or which mind you it still keeps its original meaning, like think of the word before. Before that I blah 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 blah, and it's before the door on the left, it's in front of. And I could just smack these onto it. Just pull an English and smack allative, ablative for before and after, right? Allative, ab, ablative. Um, During we can use allative for because allative also means inside. And ablative for since. No, because this makes some more problems. This causes some more problems for up and go over. It could mean something we don't express in English. Like the opposite of meanwhile. Like, hmm. That's interesting. Up and go over. Well, it could mean through, up through. Kind of like it, like through 1986, this happened. All throughout 1986, this happened. And it could also reference like a yeah, either sides of an event. Mm. Before and after the exam. Huh. But when would that see actual usage, right? When would that see actual usage? It could be. It could talk about. I was thinking during. I was thinking like throughout, during. Oh, for me, say. It could be during. It could be throughout as well. So like, or like a, or like a from this date through this date. Yeah. And then we can use like up as beginning and. Mm, mm. Huh. Okay. Yeah. So during or throughout. During or throughout. Ingomikle. Um. Up till. Do we want to just use like before, like allative, and then we can use since, like ablative for since. And then until could be like a realis. And up till could be irrealis. Where it's like you would use Zudunkli for like, yeah, until this thing happens. Like this should happen, it's going to happen. So up until that. Versus up till just being like up till just being like, yeah, if it happens. So like if somebody left work, it's like, yeah, we're gonna be understaffed up till this person comes back. If you expect that they might be back. Or they're just kind of generally flaky. But would use Zudunkli for like, yeah, he's gonna come back. Like if he's on sick leave or something, or on vacation. Hmm. That makes sense to me. You know what, Majahadra? I didn't ask for you to ruin my fun. Alright. So, all of that. I think we're ready to hang out. I think I'm ready to hang up on YouTube. So, YouTube, I hope you enjoyed it. Um, if you did, if you want to hear more about prepositions, then come back next week. Because I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on how these work in relation in actual sentences. So, if you liked that, if you want to see that, then hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, share, do all of the YouTube things. Alright? Hope y'all enjoyed. Have a good one. Bye. Leash. I'm not ready for this. Because this is gonna be weird. This is gonna be highly complex. Because we already have some other complex we already have some complex structures going on in just the basic syntax. Speaking of which, I did a little bit of reading. And it turns out that Brazilian Portuguese specifically, not European Portuguese, but Brazilian Portuguese, is a topic comment language. Which means it's like Japanese in the fact that it will state something and then make a comment about it. So think about like in an exhausted parent being like, "Oh, this girl, I don't know what I'm gonna do with her," or "Oh my gosh, my son, he's just so blah 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 blah." You know? Or a proud parent being like, "Oh, my son, so amazing," or "My daughter, the best." So Brazilian Portuguese is a topic comment language where Brazilian Portuguese is a topic comment language, where European Portuguese is a subject consequent language. I think that's the where it's kind of like where it's more like English, where it's like the man entered the barn and was kicked by the horse. It's so cool. It's so cool because because comment languages or topic comment language are just kind of don't think about them being so European. But there's an Indo-European language that does topic comment. I wouldn't doubt that that's actually a lot of influence from Tupi languages, the Tupi Guarani languages of the area. But I think it's cool. Whatever. Alright, let's hop into our third video. YouTube. It's time. We're going to work on times. We're going to work on putting prepositions of time into sentences. Because other prepositions are just normal. You just kind of put them in their place. Then you put them in the preposition slot. You put the preposition in the preposition slot. And there you go. But with prepositions of time, this could get a little weird. Because because there's a disconnect between the noun, the dependent of a prepositional phrase, and preposition. So, we're going to work on that today. We're going to have fun. Whoops. Okay. So we have these sort of things. And I think just to start off easy, just to start off simple, we should work on like before blah blah blah. Before. Oh, yeah, because this. Ooh. Okay, so let's do a word like. A sentence like. I saw. I saw the human before. I saw the human before it ate the bird. Okay. So. Oh. There's what Ever asked me to read last night that I never got. Okay. So saw the man for here's a big problem. What do we want to topicalize here? Listen. Don't knock it till you try it. What do we want to topicalize here? Because I don't think we can topicalize the man. I do not think that we can topicalize the man. Yeah, I don't think that we can topicalize it. because if we reintroduce the word man, it would probably be understood as another man, right? Or if yeah, if we introduce the eating of the bird is the topic, surely. Hmm. And you know what? I have a way to topicalize phrases. I do. It's up here actually. Etrayed. Etrayed. Um. Yeah, I do. I have a way to topicalize phrases. So, talking about birds, uh, they, dépli. So the birds were eaten. The birds were eaten. Okay. The birds were eaten. Yatum. Yaturam. Yaturam. Yaturam lidepli. Or ledepli. Or ledepli. Hmm. No. Okay. Ajetre. Être. Etrayed. Or être. Etrayed. There we go. Okay. So this whole thing sits outside of this. Or these phrases sit outside of the discourse. And it is assumed that this phrase is what is being talked about. The birds were eaten. I saw the man before it. So, I have a word for see. I know I do. Tout. Tout. So it would be tri. Tri. And then damel. Damel dun. Okay. I believe dun. Yes, it is. The bird was eaten, and I saw the man before it. Okay, so complementizer. It. Infinitive. No, not infinitive, but By direct past bird then infinitive 2. This word this word ot, the infinitive form or the unmarked form is ot. That word, we're gonna get so much use out of that. It's a conjunction, it's a null noun, it's a like that's all sorts of things. And then C1 heat and paladin. Okay. So let's come up with a rule for this. Let's come up with a rule for in prepositional phrases of time. Actor is never. The actor is not topicalized, but the event is. Okay. Um. So, what else should we do? Let's do until. Let's do until. So, I saw the man until he ate the bird. Well, I mean, that wouldn't be very different, would it? That would just. That's the form. Till. I saw the man ate the bird with that little bit of information being like with the fact that Zudunkli is used instead of like just an allative. Um, huh. Yeah, so Zudunkli, that's. You know what? I should at least include it. And okay, so we'll keep this. Now let's. I'm very glad you're enjoying this, Majahadra. Um. So yeah, maybe Imomikle could be used as like a negative throughout. So like I wasn't there while this happened. I like that. So I think I'm gonna fix that real quick. Okay. So a negative. And then an actual through. Then we'll include a positive. Like, that could be an indirect versus direct sort of deal. Like, and I was there but didn't witness it. I don't know. Before we end our third video, though, I think we should just do like a flat out. Well, actually, yeah. Before we end the video, I think we should figure out the difference between a negative through and a positive, because a positive through. I like that whole. Like, I looked away because that's too hard to watch, or I looked away, or no. Oh my gosh. Hey, we did it. Um, we actually made it. Now there are bots in our chat. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Can I just block this? Damn. There we go. We did it! Nice. Ugh. Oh, we did it. We're famous now. Um. That's great. Um. Okay, so what would be the difference between a negative through and a positive? Um. Like, because the negative through is like. It could be like, and I didn't witness it. And that could have some really weird. Seem to be after linguists. Nice. They, that could, like you just did for the example, Majahadra. Like, that could have some very odd mixes with, like, actual verbs of experience. Yes, positive through is through, negative through is up and go over. Like, differences in use. So, for now, let's just say indirect, aka I wasn't there for this, and direct. I was there for this. And then it can have some like weird functions once yeah, it can have some weird functions once once verbs of experience like seeing or hearing or positive through is more useful. Yes. That is correct. But also the fact that this language does of to skip over. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'll have to think about this over the week. Because it's time to say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube, we did some things. We didn't do very many things because this was a short video, but did some things. So we'll have some more work to do next week. I'm looking forward to it because this is brain teaser. But hopefully y'all enjoyed it. If you want to see more, check back next week. And if you want to see the unbridled chaos that is Solar, come to one of the streams. Don't be scared. Sunday at 3 p.m. EST. We would love to have you. Drite Madra Hadra would love to have you. So, have a good one. Well, the YouTube things like comment, share, subscribe, block the bots. Have a good one. Ay, 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 ay. That was fun. Imagine if Satan was here. Yeah, I would be being told how unnaturalistic it is to topicalize phrases. I don't care. I came up with something cool. And here's the thing with Satan. You know, Satan is an evil genius, right? Satan just seems to know. It'd be more like interjections. Yeah, right? Satan, I love Satan. Don't get me wrong. I love him. I love them. I love the eldritch being that is Satan. And it's just weird that they seem to know exactly what my language needs. And I don't know why. Because they take exactly what the language needs and then just here. You know? So I think that's why I end up taking a lot of his ideas. Or their ideas. Yes, love for Satan! love for Sutton. Yeah, I think that's why I end up taking a lot of their ideas, because they just, here, your language needs this. So, yes, truly Eldritch. Um, yeah, I enjoy having Sutton on, no matter how mentally exasperating it can be. Please don't sacrifice us to Clue. I saw a meme one place. It's like H.P. Lovecraft talking to his illustrator. It's like, no, you don't understand. Which, having an illustrator for cosmic horror just seems very. Well, that's why movies don't do well with cosmic horror. Um, but he was talking to his illustrator and he goes, "No, you don't understand. This horror is truly undescribable." And then the illustrator just flips around a picture of Cthulhu. Like, oh my gosh, you got it. Oh, but yeah. So I think I'm going to end the stream here. I hope to see y'all next time. I'm gonna peace out. So have a good one, y'all.